Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Steven Brown, and in today's video, we got a lot to talk about. But first, I got a bone to pick with injuries. Do you have a bone to pick with injuries? Because it seems like every Leafs fan has a bone to pick with injuries, but just how boned are the Toronto Maple Leafs in comparison to everyone else in the league? Man Games Lost NHL on Twitter is a subscription service that keeps track of injuries all across the league, and according to them, on February 6th, the Toronto Maple Leafs were the 10th most injury-ridden team in the league. Now, I don't know how accurate this specific tweet from them is, because I don't know if that Winnipeg number includes Dustin Byfuglien or not, and it's obviously not taking into consideration the quality of the players that are missing these games, right? The Maple Leafs have missed John Tavares for an extended period of time, Mitch Marner, Morgan Rielly, and then Frederik Andersen recently. But the first bit of big news comes to us from Chris Johnsson, and he says the Leafs hope Morgan Rielly returns in late March so they won't be able to count on using his LTIR money when pondering trade deadline moves. Andreas Johnsson, however, his $3.4 million is now in play. Bottom line is Toronto will have financial flexibility to add salary if needed. So from what I can find on the Andreas Johnsson injury is that he's going to be out for the next 2 months with a knee injury. And if we take a look at when the playoffs start, just by a quick Google search, we're going to see April 8th. And today is February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. If you'd like me to be your Valentine, I will. Just drop a like on the video. Might not even be back for any of the first round, so that's a huge loss for the Leafs. And this is where the anxiety levels go way up, because that Andreas Johnsson injury hurts them a lot more than just on the ice, because he was a legitimate trade chip for this team. And if you take a look at this armchair GM, you got everyone and your mother on LTIR here, and you got that $5 million in cap space to go out and make a trade, but what are you going to trade? What assets? There's no first round pick. You can't trade Jeremy Bracco. He's on personal leave. You can't call him up either. What are you going to do? Trade Kasperi Kapanen? Trade Alexander Kerfoot? No, you need them in the lineup. This is not the CHL. You can't trade draft picks 10 years down the line. And what I've been talking about with the goaltending situation and Frederik Andersen. Fred, you can't be allowing the first shot of every period to go in. No matter what defenseman you get in here, it's not going to help that. I lost it for a second there. Where are we in this video? I got like a million tabs open. But if we go over to the Twitter machine, we're going to find some happier news. And holy mama Pierre, if you're going to drop news like this on Valentine's Day, like you got to give a guy like some type of warning. But Darren Dreger reported, so I don't know if you want to take that with a grain of salt or whatever, but on insider trading last night that the Muzzin Extension will get done before the trade deadline. Like I said at a couple of videos ago, my own sense is 4 years at around $5.5 million AAV would make sense for both sides. But that is not the type of contract that I've been preparing myself for Jake Muzzin to be signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And these videos are more just a discussion, right? It's to help us brainstorm, to get those Leaf ideas out of our head. Because if you don't let the Leaf ideas out of your head, it's just going to boom, it's just going to explode. But if we take a look at the cap-friendly contract comparable tool like we have been for the last little while, we're going to see names like Anton Strawman, Tyler Myers, Jake Gardiner, Chris Russell, Nicholas Hjalmarsson, Justin Falk. And if you're looking at the AAVs for these players and you're comparing them to Jake Muzzin, it's kind of a bargain if I do say so myself. It's a lot better than the $6.5 or $6.25 million over 4 seasons that I've been preparing myself for him to sign. But it's always better to leave a little bit of extra room in the budget than to be left scrambling when you don't have it afterwards. So I'm going to stick by my conservative prediction of $6.5 million because that at least shows a placeholder that the Maple Leafs can afford a player like that. In this little Twitter video from super agent Dan Milstein, Hockey on Twitter, or Hockey Agent 1, Ilya Mikheyev is back shooting pucks. Now, if you notice the color of the pucks, they're orange. So they're not official game pucks or anything like that. But if you also notice the uniform that he's wearing a St. Pat's uniform. Is Ilya Mikheyev eyeing a St. Patrick's Day return? I don't know. But sure would be cool. Could really use him right now. So back to our current lineup with everyone and their mother on LTIR. Now, can this Leaf team make the playoffs? I mean, yes, they're in a playoff spot right now. The points percentage, it all makes sense. Austin Matthews is an elite goal scorer, but it's all going to come down to Frederik Andersen. No changes that you make on this blue line are going to help this team. No changes that you can make with the trade chips that you have available to you are going to help this team. It's got to come from within, and the area that we can see the most improvement is not the offense, and it's not the defense, because I don't know why you would think that. It's the goaltending. Fred, it's on you, buddy. You've been better than this in the past, and we need you to be the goalie that we know you can be. You don't even have to finish in the Vezina voting or anything like that. Just give us a 9-15, a 9-10, please. And if that happens, the Maple Leafs are going to glide into a playoff spot. But at their current pace, with Frederik Andersen playing the way that he is right now, they cannot overcome that. They've been overcoming the bad defense for the last 2 years now, so don't tell me that the goaltending is not the thing that's the issue right now. What's that thing that I've been saying at the end of all these videos? When the Toronto Maple Leafs make the playoffs, the Maple Leafs are going to make the playoffs, and this is the roster that they could feasibly ice when the playoffs comes. And you know what? There's no miraculous trade in here. What does this lineup have? It has everyone healthy, first off and foremost. It consists of a coach that actually is using both sides of his brain, and it's assuming that Frederik Andersen is going to be Frederik Andersen. And all of those things would be more than what we've had all season long, even when they won 10 out of 13 games in December and went on that miraculous 9-0-1 run. Okay, the best team in the playoffs does not win the Stanley Cup. The healthiest team in the playoffs wins the Stanley Cup. You want proof of that? Well, last year, the Maple Leafs played the Bruins. What was the issue in that series? Don't say goaltending. Don't say defense. No, it was the health of the Toronto Maple Leafs because Muzzin was banged up, Gardner was banged up, Dermott was banged up, and Zach Hyman was killing penalties on one knee. Of course they lost. So don't tell me that this lineup cannot win in the playoffs or at least make it past the first or second round, because it's all just a crapshoot. And this is something that I left out that I didn't include in the 2020-2021 no cap hell video that I made a couple of days ago, but it was pointed out in the comments section, and I'm sorry your name escapes me right now because the craziness is just taking over right now. But Chris Johnsson said on Leafs Hour today that he doesn't expect Spezza to go elsewhere chasing a cup, and that it's basically Toronto or bust for him, and money isn't a priority. So if Jason Spezza wants to return to the Toronto Maple Leafs next season for near league minimum, oh yeah, sign me up for that. He's been amazing this season. And this is what next year's iteration of the Toronto Maple Leafs could look like. This is without even making a trade. And like I said in a couple of videos ago, Kasperi Kapanen is the most popular option to be traded. So if we moved him on LTIR just to remove the cap hit, you can see that cap number in the top, $5.2 million. And then Travis Dermott, sure, if you want to include him in a trade to possibly get back an even bigger asset, because someone needs to come out of that top six if you make a trade for a defenseman. So I put Genny Augustino and Nick Petan in there as just placeholders for guys making near league minimum, and you can see the cap space up at the top, $6.2 million. Yeah, that's a healthy number to go out there and get a defenseman for especially a package of Kasperi Kapanen and Travis Dermott that would knock your socks off. I threw a lot of information out there in this video. I got a little bit of a headache from all the Leaf ideas just going right out of my head. So leave me a like on this video if you did enjoy, and subscribe for more because more is always on the way. And guys, the Toronto Maple Leafs, I don't know how, okay? I'm on my last legs with this, but they're going to make the playoffs this year.